Fencing is one of the oldest sports known to man. It has been around for centuries. This is a look into the history of fencing, fencing being used in movies, and how it works as a sport. Fencing has been around for quite some time now. It's believed that fencing has been around since ancient Egyptian times, due to some ancient images of what looked like bouts going on. The first modern fencing took place in Spain in the late 15th century. Fencing has also been used for sword combat in wars. The Italians eventually adopted fencing in 1500 and used the rapier, a sword that is good for stabbing and slashing in their right hand for offensive purposes, while wielding something like a dagger in their left hand for parrying or blocking an opponent's attack. The then Queen of France, Queen Catherine de' Medici, decided to have Italian fencing masters come to France to help fencing develop there. King Charles IX liked fencing and decided in 1567 to make the French Fencing Academy, creating many new French fencing masters like Henri de Saint Didier in 1573. He was the first French fencing master and heavily encouraged the use of épée, a sword for stabbing with a big bell, which is the big round thing that protects the hand, rather than the rapier. In the 1600s, dueling became very popular. Dueling is when two people fight each other to settle a score. Another thing that happened in the 17th century was the creation of the foil. It's an épée, but is lighter and has a smaller bell. It was created to help train épée fencers. The 18th century was when épée became popular for dueling, and saber was also created. Saber is a sword that is primarily for slashing. One other important thing that happened was the invention of the fencing mask in 1780 by Lavoisier, which made fencing much safer. Fencing finally came to the Americas sometime between 1860 to 1870 by French and Italian fencing masters immigrating to America. The first American fencing school came to be in 1874, and by this time, fencing had become a lot less violent and more of a sport. Dueling also started to decline and didn't stop completely until sometime after World War I ended. When the first modern Olympics came to be in 1896, men's foil and saber were in it, and eventually men's épée joined in 1900. Women's foil joined in 1924, women's épée joined in 1996, and eventually women's saber joined as well. One other thing about fencing was that it has been used to choreograph sword fights in movies. Bob Anderson, an Olympic fencer, was the choreographer for many sword fights in famous movies such as the original Star Wars trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Anderson was also the one in the Darth Vader outfit in the lightsaber duels in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and not David Prowse because Prowse wasn't that great with a blade, but this was never put in the credits. This was kept secret until Mark Hamill, the actor who played Luke Skywalker, said in an interview with a science fiction magazine, "I finally told George I didn't think it was fair anymore. Bob worked so bloody hard that he deserves some recognition." Also on the topic of movies, sword fights in movies might be entertaining to watch, but they aren't realistic. In many movies with sword fights, there's a lot of slashing and swinging the blade, and opponents don't always attack each other when there's an opening. Take this example from Star Wars Episode I: The Phantom Menace. There are multiple times when rather than parrying and stabbing the opponent, they slash a lot or don't attack each other when there's an opening. Now let's talk about how fencing works today. When fencing, you fence either electric, which is fencing with electric gear and have your blade connected to a body cord, and the body cord connects to a reel on a scoring machine, or dry fencing, which is fencing without any electric gear or any scoring machines. As of now, there are 3 official styles of fencing: foil, épée, and saber. This is a foil. This bell protects your hand area, and this tip is what you stab your opponent with. You have to stab them in the lame, which is an electrified jacket that covers the torso and the back area like that. If you hit anywhere else, it's off target, which means you don't get the touch, or the point. Underneath that is the jacket, which reduces damage to the back and torso area and covers the arms. And underneath that is a plastron, which reduces even more damage. Also, there's a glove, which protects your hand, and a body cord, which has a two-pronged end that connects to the foil like this, goes through a hole in the glove that goes through your dominant arm, down the back area, and comes out of here. And on the other end, there's a three-pronged end that goes into the reel of the machine, and an alligator clip which connects to this part of the lame, which helps complete the circuit. Also, there are knickers, which will protect your legs, socks, which will protect the part the knickers don't protect, and shoes, which protect your feet and they help making going across the strip easier. There's also a mask for protecting your face. And what they realized one day about foil masks was since the bib was non-electric and it covers part of the lame, some people tried doing things where they would block attacks with the non-electric bib, which wasn't very fair. So how they got around that was they made the bib electric, had two little things over here and here, which you connect an alligator clip to there, and on that cord, which is this, connects to another part of your lame called a tab, and that's how you score on a bib, and that's how they got around it. Foil also has this thing called right-of-way.
It dictates who gets to touch, and basically one example of it is whoever has the last control over the blade, which like they make a blade contact with, like a blocking motion. They will, and both people hit at the same time. The person who made the blocking motion first will get the touch.
Since foil has a small target area compared to the other styles of fencing and right-of-way, foilists don't mind getting close to each other when fencing, resulting in a strategic and fast-paced style of fencing. However, some people might find foil to be the most confusing of the three. Seeing how it is right-of-way, some people might not be able to see certain actions that happen based on how small they are, or might not be able to keep up with who has right-of-way, seeing how frequently people can lose or gain right-of-way. Epee is very similar to foil. They have pretty much the same types of blades, so you're still stabbing at each other. But what's different is that the blade's a little bigger, it's a little heavier, and the bell's bigger. The reason why the bell's bigger is because in epee, you can get hit literally anywhere on your body and it'll be a touch against you, even the toe. So they make the bell bigger so it protects your hand better. Also, if you hit the bell with the tip of the blade, it won't go off. What's also different is that there's no right-of-way. So if two people hit each other at the same time, it'll be a point for both of them. They also have a different body cord, whereas foil and saber, it has a two-prong end, a three-prong end, and an alligator clip. This one just has two three-prong ends. Also, it has almost no electric gear. The only things electric are the body cord and the blade. You don't really need electric gear in epee because you can get hit anywhere. Even the mask, as you can tell, has nothing electric on it whatsoever. Since epee has no right-of-way and you can get hit anywhere and it'll be a point against you, some people consider epee to be the easiest to follow and the most strategic of the three. However, seeing how you can get hit anywhere and it'll be a point against you, epee is considered to be the slowest paced of the three. Saber, however, is the most different of the three. The only thing that's really similar is body cord. It's the same thing as foil. It's different though, it's the blade. So you can tell the bell is differently shaped. It doesn't have the same tip as foil and epee, and the entire blade area is electrified. Not the bell, just the blade area. So it's more of a slashing sport rather than stabbing sport. So you hit someone with the side of the blade on the lame, that's how you get the point. But if you hit off target, it doesn't count, and the machine won't go off. Also, the lame covers the arm area. There's also electric gloves. The mask is fully electrified, everywhere. Although, what's different from the electric bib of foil is there aren't any tabs on the inside for the alligator clip. So what you do, connect the alligator clip to the side of the bib like so. Because of how quickly actions in saber bouts can happen, and how quickly the bouts can end, saber is considered to be the fastest paced of the three. Saber, like foil, does have right-of-way. However, it's the least strategic of the three. A bunch of the times in bouts, there will be people charging at each other simultaneously, hitting each other simultaneously, hoping they had right-of-way. The only real strategy in saber is to evade your opponent when they try to hit you, causing them to lose right-of-way, then going after them. That, or you could parry their blade and then go after them, but parrying rarely occurs in saber, seeing how you can get hit in the arm by the side of the blade, so it would be hard to do without getting hit. In the world of competitive fencing, there's this thing called a rating system. You are a rated fencer, right?
Yeah, I'm rated an A11.
Could you explain how the rating system works?
Okay. The rating system, it basically, everyone starts out as a U, which translates out to unclassified fencer. And from there, your first rating that you can get is the E. And basically the rating system goes from E all the way up to A. And for the most part, they have events that are kind of geared towards that particular level of ratings. Like they'll do one that's for D-rated fencers and below. They'll do one for C-rated fencers and below. And at the highest level, they're doing basically open events where, yeah, anyone of any rating can compete in. And yeah, no, at that point, I'm an A-rated fencer. And why I have the 11 at the end of it is because I earned it back in 2011. I haven't really fenced any events since then, so I haven't had the opportunity to earn a new rating.
And how long do ratings have a certain limit as to how long you have them?
They expire after 4 years.
Fencing has come a long way. It started out violent and evolved into a very big sport that's been in the Olympics since the first modern Olympics in 1896. With all the strategy and how physically demanding it can be, fencing has been referred to by many as physical chess, and it deserves the title. It's got many people participating in it now, and it surely will in the years to come.